meeting back to order. We've just finished the recess. And the next item on the agenda is the evaluation of the town manager. Begin with Selectman Lamarche.
Thank you, Chairman Sad. So we want to go right through this entire evaluation. Is that what we're doing? Okay, so I'm going to start with budget and finance. I feel that the town manager is doing a much better job in this area. So I gave him a score of 8. Public safety, I gave him a score of 9. On personal and human resources, I gave him a score of 7. This is out of 10, by the way. Public service, yeah, I thought it was on.
Okay.
Yeah.
John?
I'm not talking loud enough?
Okay.
Sorry. In public service, again, we have some tremendous people that work for this town. We're very, very lucky, and I think that makes his job a little easier, but he's doing very well in that area, so I gave him an 8. Public works, this is, to me, a no-brainer. That's a 9. And technology, I gave you a 9 because we've really done a great achievement, I think, here, getting our access channel up and running better, and the whole process seems to be a lot nicer. I think people at home, you know, with the video, they're finding that's working out real well. And plus I'm happy with the internal force that we have with Justin downstairs doing his work and stuff, so I think we're doing very well there. Then the key performance factors, out of a possible of 5, oral communication, I gave you 4, written communication 4, administrative functions 3, planning 4, organization 3, controlling 3, directing and leading 3, and problem solving and decision making I gave you 8 for a total of 28. My general comments would be that we've had a few ups and downs this year, but I'm very pleased. I think I am very, very happy. We finally have a animal control officer working for the town of Oxford and nowhere else. And again, like I reiterated earlier, I'm happy that we've got our video program here running real well. We're doing the 3 channels, or we will be, out of the access area, and I think that's very, very good. We've separated those channels, so now if you want to watch school committee, you go to that channel. You want to watch the government, you go to that channel. I think that's really working well. And the hope for this year is that the manager can probably be successful in getting that water company issue settled. Hopefully that's going to come to fruition. My primary goals is I have to state that generally what I do is I go through last year's evaluation, look at it, and refer to it. And I was kind of amazed that all my goals for last year you achieved. It was like, wow, this is great. And the only goal that I could see is I would like to see you working, if you could, a little bit harder, trying to help out maybe the community center, see if we could get, if it's possible, to get some more tenants in there, maybe help with finances a little bit, where they somehow could get a little bit more money to expand their activities. The activities I see that are going over there are phenomenal. I've been in there a lot lately, and to see the amount of use that building's getting is great. It's really, as a taxpayer, it feels good to walk in there and see that kids are using that, the afternoon programs, basketball, it's great. And if we could expand that even more, so that the kids have more things they can do in this town, I think that would be really well benefit to us. And then the last thing would be in the same realm is the recreation, seeing if we can somehow financially help them out. I know we've been doing well with the fields, but I think we have to monitor, we have to set up a way of, keeping those fields up to speed, maybe improving some of the fields. I'd like something, in the near future with that carbuncle building. That definitely, we gotta work on that, so that's something I'd be willing to get personally involved with too. So I've said that before, and I think it's a project that's very, very much needed. So when we go through the entire evaluation, where is that paper? Tell me. Oh, there it is. So when I add up everything, in the area of managerial functions, we had 28. Is that right? And then out of the, I think I did, yeah. And then I had a total of 50. So that's a total of, no, I did something wrong in my calculation. I'm sorry, I come up with a total of 85, so somehow my numbers,
Yeah, there's, the managerial, there's 6 categories, right?
right.
And then,
Yeah, you wanna go back to this page, Dennis, and it should be a total, should be here.
Right. So 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, it comes up to 28.
And I came up with 78 while you were
Yeah,
reading off your numbers.
right. Somehow I messed up there because I come up with a total of 85, so I think those numbers are wrong that I put in there.
So 85 is your score?
85 is my score that I did come up with. I gave him an outstanding, so I'll have to check that.
thank you.
before I-
And thank you for that advice, too. I appreciate that.
I think I messed up on the performance factors.
Okay? Yep. Next,
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Vos?
Yeah, start out. Budget and finance. Joe, I gave you a 7 out of 10. There again, just keep plugging away. Had some progress this year, looking at eliminating waste. Continue along those lines. Public safety, gave you a 9 out of a possible 10. Again, fire and EMS continue to do an awesome job. Development of the code red and the EMC this year, both fantastic. Personnel and human resources, I gave you an 8. I think last year we had some type of, there was some communication gaps and things of that nature with some of the employees and the volunteers, and I've seen huge strides in this, and I know you're a busy guy, and sometimes that was something that you might have been overlooking, but I'm giving you an 8. That's up from last year, I think, by 2 points. Public service comments. Along the same lines, I know I had a meeting in your office last year about this, and we'd spoken about some department heads had, forgotten how to deal with the residents and some of the volunteers, and I know that you addressed that because I've heard nothing but good things since then from both residents and volunteers. I've actually called some volunteers and seen how things have been going with the town hall, and everyone's got nothing but good things to say, so that's great. DPW, had another good quality year, especially in regards to the preparation and the clearing for the blizzards. I mean, we didn't lose any roads. That was absolutely fantastic. That comes back to the Emergency Management Center and all the preparation that was taken into consideration. Give you a 9 on that. Also, the development of the road maintenance plan. And technology. We had some issues with the Oxford access, and those have been resolved, and I think we can see the fruits of the labor. And also, the town website has gotten a facelift and has I've had a lot of comments on that, and I think that functions absolutely fantastic. I give you a 9 on that. Did I skip over one here?
I missed the fourth one.
I'm sorry, public service was a 9.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, long night. Key performance factors, these are 5 is the best you can get. Oral communication 4, written communication 4, administrative function 4, planning a 3, organizing 3, 4, controlling 4, directing and leading 3, and problem solving decision making is a 3, and that's for a total score of 29. Joe, I believe this year has been a good year for you, much better than last year. I think we have more of a working relationship, and many of the goals, as Dennis had said, that the board members have set for you, you've accomplished, including the majority of my own. I look forward to working with you this coming year and building on the momentum I think you've gained this year. Primary goals, as Dennis had mentioned, I based my evaluation on what I'd seen last year, and I went back and I referenced every point, and you've seemed to improve quite a bit in every one of those regards. There again, just closer scrutiny to the budget with the ultimate goal, and I know it's tough with some of the things we have coming up, but with getting below the 100% of the levy limit. Last year, I'd asked you to get a comprehensive roadway maintenance plan. That happened. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I'm very happy. This coming year would be working to implement that. There again, it's a dollars and cents things, but whatever little we can do each and every year to get that thing moving full steam. And again, just building on the progress you've made in regards to communication and cooperation with the public and the volunteer groups. One thing I'd like to see this coming year, Joe, and I know you're a busy man, and we all are, in getting to some of these functions outside of our normal job and selectmen's duty, but if you could make more of the functions, I go to quite a bit of them, and I haven't seen yet too many. And there again, I don't know what your schedule is and how busy you are, but if you could try to make some more of those, I think, when they see the town manager out there coming to these functions, it gives them an opportunity to speak with you outside of the town hall, and I think that would be a valuable thing. As Dennis had mentioned, working with the community center to help maximize the use of that facility. It's a diamond in the rough. They just do not have the resources over there to do what they need. I understand it gets back to dollars and cents, but I believe Stacy is doing everything she can to do what she can do. But she needs your full cooperation and the full cooperation of this board. So basically, we got a 29 and a 51. I believe that's a score of 80. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Lamont?
Well, I won't be as long as Mike, I hope. No. Joe, and everything up above, budget and finance, public safety, personnel and human resource. Public services, public works and technology, I give you a 10 in every area, for a total of 60 on that. Under the heading of the managerial functions, all 8 categories, I give you a 5 out of 5 for a total of 40 for a score of 100. Now, Joe, I know you can't walk on water, and there's one thing I've learned, though, over the years of, owning a business and sitting here as a selectman over the past 12 years, it's that we pay our folks on what we perceive as a value rather than paying them by what is truly a value, okay? And this is done in every department, everywhere, constantly. But unfortunately for you right now, and for Dennis Powell before you, it seemed that the position of town manager had kind of been exempted from that perceived value perspective, unfortunately. So, as I sat back and I was reading the budgets, I was reading the school budgets, I was reading some of the other budgets, and I saw a salary of $128,520 for a superintendent, and I saw $100,297 for a business manager. And I saw that was the 13 actual and the 14 request. So I'm like, wow. And then I looked at your line, and I saw what the recommendation was and then what you actually recommended, which was less than, which I kind of find ironic. But, and I said, there's something wrong here. Now I asked myself, I said, is our school superintendent's position, I looked at the chief of fire, chief of police, I looked at the business manager, principals in the schools, and other positions. I asked myself, are they underpaid or overpaid? And I said, what, I really don't know. But I do know, however, that the position of the town manager encompasses a responsibility of each of those above folks' jobs. They all come to you when they need money with their budgets, when they have a problem in their department, when most of them need to hire help. When they need anything, they run it through you, okay? And that's every day. So as the town of Oxford CEO, COO, CFO, whatever you want to call yourself, I know that all these requests run through you and that you're always 24/7, 365 Oxford's town manager. One of the things that I also noticed was with those pays that I was mentioning, they don't have a residency requirement, which Joe Zaneski, when you were town engineer, you lived in Uxbridge, Mass, I believe, you had to give up that big, beautiful home to build a nice home, but people don't know the work that was involved in a soft market when you were holding on to that big house out there. Well, I do, Joe. And, so I just wanted to say it here and in writing that, although I can't give you or the position what I believe it should be compensated, by throwing a score of 100 out there, I can hopefully bring it up a little bit more as to where it belongs. I did have some recommendations with that score, okay? I've said it before, Joe. I heard Dennis and Mike say that, you've done everything they wanted. I still don't see you delegating enough tasks throughout the town hall employees. I see you still handling a lot of things yourself, like covering the phone, typing your own letters, walking people through channels so that they can get to where they want to go. Joe, you're the town manager. And I know it's nice of you to do so somebody can go out on their break. You cover the phone, but there's other things I know you want to do and need to do. Do those. You know what? Let them worry about who's going to cover the phone. I would love to see you, and I've said it, I think, 5 years in a row, and I didn't feel like reading back all your evaluations. I don't know the words, so every time I've spoken with you, I said, Joe, you need to get yourself a Joe. Okay? As Dennis Power had you, you need a you. You need somebody like you. Okay? Not only to lessen your load, but to take care of some succession planning as well. I know when Dennis was in his latter years, it was goddamn good that we had an ATM in Joe Zaneski. The town ran, things functioned well, and you were a constant. And then when he transitioned out, you transitioned in. I called it seamless, and it went rather well. I heard Mike make reference to the road evaluation that was done with Sean, and I asked that you just continue to work with Sean on that to make sure our roads don't deteriorate the way they can in 10 years. Let's stay ahead of it because that's a fight that needs to be fought. And of course, in fighting, keep on going for that water company, Joe. You're almost there. You're a week away, I think, or a couple weeks away from going into court, and it'll be interesting to see. So in closing, Joe, I just want to say that over the past 12 years as our engineer and as our town manager, and more importantly, I think as an individual, I've enjoyed working with you. As I prepare to exit my position of selectman, I believe I'm leaving Oxford in good hands with you at the helm. I don't think they have anything to worry about. You're a dedicated, competent person who I believe should continue to serve as our town manager, and I'm glad you are. Just remember, tough times are ahead of us, tough decisions will be made, and you can be the tough guy that's got to do it. Thank you. That's all I have, Joe. I wish you well.
Thank you. And good luck to you too, sir.
Thank you.
Casey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we as a board can pay the town manager what he's worth. We're not bound by any formula. We've historically used a formula, but there's no statutory requirement or other requirement or policy of this board that would prohibit us, in my opinion, from paying him what he's worth. And I agree with Selectman Lamountain's comments. I think we talked about that we were astonished that he's the only person with a residency requirement, is not the highest paid person in the town with the most responsibility on his plate. And this has been an institutional, historical, whatever word you want to use, problem for this town for a lot of years. And it became more apparent when you have somebody who's been with the town as long as the town manager has in his capacity as the zoning enforcement, town planner, town engineer, now town manager capacity. You start to see the value of an employee. And as a member of the board, I guess to some extent, I'll speak for myself, we felt kind of restrained, because how do you catapult somebody from what the salary has historically been as a town manager past the superintendent, who is the highest paid person in the town, even though we all knew, and I think my colleagues shared the sentiment,
Yes.
that this person has done, he does the job of so many people, and he's constantly on call, and he certainly goes to more events, far surpassing I'm not picking on the superintendent, this goes back, many superintendents, but he goes to several more public events than any superintendent. He's constantly on call, dealing with crisis, and, this really, in my opinion, should be the highest paid employee in the community. I don't really know what arguments could be made against that reality, and as a board, if it would mean that we could control the salaries of other positions in so doing, in that folks have to answer to the public at the ballot box, when people are elected to the school committee or the board of selectmen, we all have our day of reckoning at the ballot box, that perhaps we would be doing the town a service in ensuring that the town manager is the highest paid person, because then perhaps the argument can be made across the taxpayer spectrum that, hey, this is the guy who is the most valuable, or girl, we don't know what the future holds, person in the town. They've got the residency requirement. They should be the highest paid. And if you're going to pay somebody more money than the town manager, you better have a pretty good reason for it. And that's an educational component for people, for us as a board and whoever sits up here to relay to the taxpayers. But, whether it's a sense of, I'd speak for Selectman Lamont,
Good.
freedom that we sense, that we are not on the ballot box this year, although I don't think I've ever held back in speaking my mind, whether I'm on the ballot the next day or the next week or maybe next year or whenever it's going to be. We're always accountable. But, I've come into this evening wanting to try to make this as right as I can, and I'm prepared to do what I need to do that. Be bold, do what is necessary, but to pay a person what they're worth, and do it in a way that I think serves the taxpayers insofar as this should be the highest paid person in the town. And if another committee, it's their purview to pay their superintendent. I'm not trying to step on the school committee's toes, but get people to take pause of the way it should be, in my opinion. So having prefaced on that, I just wanted to pick up on some of the Selectman Lamountain's points. I've given the town manager, I'll just cut right to the score and go backwards here. I've given him a 94.5, which is an outstanding rating. In the categories of budget and finance, I gave him a 10. I look around at other communities, they're closing their town halls, they're cutting back on their veteran services, they're closing their animal shelters, they don't have community centers. We've had major storms, and we've had other things that have been thrown at this town, and I look around and, we're one of the few towns that can say we have a new police station, and I know that there was a little surprise that, it's added 27 cents to the tax rate. New police station, new schools and renovated schools. We've got a beautiful fire station. We've got a beautiful library. We maintain a level of public service. We've got a strong DPW. We're just in very good financial, fiscal health at a time when we look around, and not all towns and cities and towns can say that. And, it starts at the top. He's got a great financial team in place. He's a good delegator. That's what you want in your manager. He relies on his experts when he's not sure about budget issues. He doesn't try to, micromanage people. And I gave him a 10 in that category because we're doing a lot of things right at a time when a lot of other cities and towns are struggling. Public safety, I gave him a 10. He's done a great job of maintaining a high level of public safety through both our fire, our police, and just across the board. We're in very good shape. Personnel, human resources, I think this is probably one of the most challenging categories for a town manager, to basically deal with several different personalities on a day-to-day basis, trying to keep everybody happy, trying to fight for your employees, and he serves 5 masters up here saying cut, cut, cut. And he's got to deal with real people and real issues, and people who who need benefits, and you gotta hire people, and sometimes you gotta give benefits to people when you're hiring them, because you can't pay somebody $15 an hour and expect them to come in and go to work and not perhaps get health insurance. So, from the personnel, human resources, I give you a 10, Mr. Manager. I think that you've done a very good job. You've been very effective in the places that you've chosen to hire people, and made the town hall a place where people can come in here and do their daily business, and then go to a counter and have somebody there who can help them. That means something, because that doesn't happen in every town hall. You go to a town hall, just randomly go to a town hall in Worcester County, not gonna name names, but they're closed certain days of the week. They close at 1 o'clock. We don't do that to our folks. We're open, we're accessible to the taxpayers, and I attribute that to the town manager and where he's prioritized hiring and effective retention, and where he's chose to spend money through his staff. Public service, I give him a 9.5. I think he's maintained a high level of services, as I've said, for the people of Oxford. And I tip my hat to him that he makes himself available to the public. I know that some folks think that there should be two Joes and he should be answering the phone, but I think that's a nice touch. I think people want to know that, look, we are short-staffed. You call the town hall at 3 o'clock, it's not unusual for the town manager to pick up the phone, not only for the selectman's office, but for his office. And I think that's refreshing. You're not getting an automated answering machine, leaving a message in mailbox 57. You're getting a live person, and the town manager is picking up the slack to make sure that the people in the town are getting the service that they deserve. So I gave him a 9.5 in that category. Public Works, 9.5. He's got a fabulous DPW. We've got a great guy in Sean Dival, and just the heart and soul of our DPW is represented in the quality of our roads. We've got a road program now that we're working towards, and it's just, there's always something new and exciting coming out of the DPW, doing more with less. I think that's a great way to categorize those good people over at the DPW, and the town manager is at the helm. Technology, 9.5. We had a bumpy, or a challenging year with respect to this cable access. I'm just gonna go back to 1998 when I first proposed that selectmen meetings be televised. And we've come a long way, baby. We really have. I mean, this is a system that we can be proud of. It wasn't easy to get to this point. There was some miscommunication. There were funding issues, but here we are, and I think it's a very good system, and I tip my hat to you. It took a long time, not on your watch necessarily, but it's done. Key performance factors, 36 in total: oral, written communication, planning, organizing, controlling, directing and leading, problem solving, decision making. A total score of 36 in those categories. Just summarily, the town manager has done an excellent job over the past year. He has spent and continues to spend countless hours in the town's efforts to rightfully acquire the Oxford Water Company. The town is most fortunate to have a town manager with expertise in water and sewer and overall planning matters of the town. The town manager's expertise and institutional knowledge have been invaluable to the town of Oxford in our litigation against Aquarion. He has demonstrated real leadership in fighting for the town on the water acquisition case. Goals: help to place a proposed zoning bylaw before the citizens of Oxford at the October 2013 town meeting to significantly limit the locations of potential marijuana dispensaries, to prohibit them from being placed in school zones, residential neighborhoods, and near daycare facilities. And also, of course, to complete the acquisition of the Oxford Water Company. This is a major challenge, but one the town must meet to promote accountability in rate setting and ensure local control. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Casey. All right, we're down to the final evaluation. Category 1, budget and finance. Your financial management has been consistent during these most difficult times, Joe. You've done an outstanding job in finances, and you have people in place that know what they're doing, and you appear to be on top of our financial situation at all times. Out of a possible 10, I've given you a 9. Under public safety, your working relationship with the police and fire departments has proven invaluable, especially during the most recent emergencies that we've had, like the October storm and other storms that we've had, that you had to set up a command center and work in conjunction with not only our local public safety people, but with the state people as well. I give you an 8 out of a possible 10. Personnel and Human Resources, I gave you a 9 out of a possible 10. You have made some very good appointments and seem to deal very well with labor contract issues, which appear to get very difficult as each year goes by. Number 4, Public Services, I gave you an 8 out of 10. You continue to deal effectively with departments to ensure timely delivery of services to the public. Public Works, you work well with the DPW to ensure that our streets and infrastructure is properly maintained. I know it's very difficult with the limited amount of resources we have. We all know that if we had to repair roads and infrastructure, if we did everything and brought everything up to date, there just isn't enough money to do it. We've got people that want bridges fixed, we've got people that want roads resurfaced. We just can't do it all because we don't have the funding. And you try and you work very well with the DPW director to set up a priority listing of which streets, what infrastructure gets taken care of when. And I think that's important to prioritize, and you've done that very effectively. I know it doesn't please a lot of people that want their road taken care of, but you have to understand that for every one person that wants something done, there's probably 10 more that also want something done. So that's why prioritizing is very important. Technology, the MIS services are constantly improving as technology improves. Good example is I look down on my desk and I see that I have in front of me a wireless iPad, which has my agenda, my backup information. I have a Dropbox so that you can send me information at home, or if I'm on vacation, Town of Oxford business is at my fingertips. We are right up to date as far as technology is concerned, and you appear to stay constant on improving that technology. This only being one example of the improvements in technology that you have made since you've been the town manager. Under key performance factors, oral communications, out of a possible 5, I gave you a 5. You communicate very effectively orally. I meet with you on a regular basis, and we have an ability to understand each other, and I think a lot of that has to do with the way you explain things. Written communication, I've always said from day one, you have the ability to write and to put down and to document things in a very effective manner. I gave you a 5 out of 5. Administrative functions and staffing, I gave you a 4 out of 5. Planning, 4 out of 5. Organizing, 4 out of 5. Controlling, 4 out of 5. Directing and leading, 4 out of 5. Problem solving and decision making, 4 out of 5. For a total score under key performance factors of 34. Okay. My total is 86, which is in the outstanding category. You appear to have a good understanding of how each department functions. I would like you to have more one-on-one meetings, though, with department heads and staff to have a better understanding of their needs and their concerns. In talking to department heads and staff, I get the feeling that that is an area that's needed. So if you could take that into consideration, it certainly would not only benefit you, but benefit the staff and the department heads. You continue to show a willingness to try to keep the Board of Selectmen informed of all important matters and take constructive criticism in a very positive manner. and I would hope that you would continue with that. You have improved your people skills in dealing with the public and employees, but you should always be striving to improve in this area. You can never let up. That's an area that is very important. When you're a public official, you have to deal with people in a very positive manner. No matter how trivial a situation may appear to be to you, it could be very important to that individual. So please keep that in mind. You continue to keep me informed with information that you feel the selectmen should be aware of as they occur, and you respond to my request in a very timely manner, and it's well appreciated. As far as primary goals, I would ask that you continue to work to improve our broadcasting system with Access Oxford to ensure that the system is updated on an as-needed basis. We had a bump in the road in dealing with Access Oxford, as you are well aware of. We met a number of occasions, and finally that has been corrected, and I see that both the Town Hall and Access Oxford is working very well together. And just because it's working well doesn't mean that it can be ignored. I think we have to stay on top of it. I still continually get calls from people regarding quality of picture, sounds, those kinds of things, and I would like to meet with you in the near future so that you can convey them to Access Oxford. Secondly, continue to develop goals and policies for the animal control shelter. I brought this up at our last evaluation, and I'm bringing it up again because I think it's a very important area. I think there has to be something in writing as to policy and procedures and how that department functions. That, to date, hasn't been specifically spelled out. And I know, Joe, that you have a lot on your plate. I really do. And I'm reiterating this because I feel that if we don't do something in the near future, it's going to come back to bite us. 3, continue to make the purchase of the water company your top priority. It's been, what, 4 years?
4 years next week.
4 years, and we're going May 6th to court. And hopefully we'll get a judge's decision at that time. No matter which way it goes, whether we get a decision or not on the 6th, please still stay on top of this as a top priority. It's just too late for us to do anything but stay on top of it. It's imperative to the ratepayers that we do something. And I know that a lot of this is beyond your control. It's all tied up with the courts. It's tied up with the system and how it operates. It's tied up with the DPU and how they function. It's tied up with arguing points on both sides of the issue between Aquarian and the town. And it's not going to be resolved overnight, but I think 4 years is long enough. People have had it. They want to see the light at the end of that tunnel. So I wish you well on May 6th.
Thank you.
But overall, Joe, I have enjoyed working with you. My tenure as a selectman with you as town manager, you have been exceptionally helpful to me as chairman of the board. You keep me informed. When you feel that there's something that the board or I should know, you don't hesitate to give me a phone call, no matter where I am. So I want you to continue to do that, and I look forward for a very prosperous year with you and the town of Oxford. Good luck, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
You know, a nice round number.
I
Joe?
wished Selectman Mountain good luck, and to you too, Ms. Casey.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll enjoy your new life, because I've done it, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Some of the things you've all said could not have been done, that, as far as my accomplishments, could not have been done without your help. You need to know that, and folks at home need to know that. That the success, a big success, for example, on this this renaissance of pleasantries with Access Oxford had to do with the help that was given by the board. Because, and maybe I had not soon enough said, look, I need help. But with your help, we've done these things, and with your help, we will continue to do things. And I appreciate your comments and your helpful criticisms as they come in. So, I feel like I'm part of the team, and that's a good thing. Thank you all.
You're a very important part of the team.
But
We
so are
have-
you, don't, you know, it's, we're all part of this. As the charter is written, it's the town meeting, Board of Selectmen, town manager, the three legs of that stool that make it work.
Point well taken.
Joe, I don't know if I was the only one doing the calculations or not, but I came up with an 89.1 average.
Okay.
You did too, which would equal up to a $1,910 salary increase according to the procedure.
What's the percentage again?
It would be, it's 89.1 is where he's at.
Do we have a recommendation?
For real?
A motion?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, and again, I hit it, and I'm gonna put it out there. You folks can vote yes or no. I'm gonna say it. Jen was eloquent in some of the ways she had said it, and I'm just gonna say it by numbers. Our superintendent, without a residency requirement, makes $128,520. The school committee has always seemed to be exempt from what they pay, and Joe, I don't care if we gave you a nickel. I heard it from somebody. You know, why are you giving him money? You know what? Did I fall prey to it? Sure. I believe the position of town manager, whether it be Joe Zaneski or Joe Smith or Joan Smith, I don't care. It should be the highest paid position in the land because it is the, as you say, it's one of the legs of the tripartite form of government that we follow. Saying that and looking at numbers and not wanting to be overly drastic, I believe that there should be a percentage ratio higher than the second highest paid position. Now, I will have folks, I don't know what word I'm looking for. I was gonna say bitch slap, but yell at me tomorrow.
Up in arms?
Yeah, up in arms, thank you. I'm gonna have folks up in arms tomorrow.
Yeah, we can stay away from the domestic abuse references.
Okay, they're gonna be nuts because I'm making this motion, but I believe that you should make 5 points more, which would mean that I am going to make a motion that your salary be increased to $134,500, which is 5% more than superintendent. And in the future, you should stay 5 points. And if the school committee gives a raise because it's contractual or they want to, then you get a raise equal amount to keep you at 5 points higher and just take it out of the unrestricted local aid that we give them to make your salary up. So now they have to think. There's some consequence to their actions. It's not just we give it because we have it and we can, and then we're gonna beg you guys for more money. It's, you do it, this is the outcome. Every dollar costs you another $1.05 on top of it. And they're gonna have to think. But that would be my motion to 134.5.
Second.
Is motion moved and seconded? Discussion? Yes, Mr. Bose?
Hank. I heard you mention or say that, you know, he should be 5% more than. I don't agree to the point where if for some reason or another the school committee should decide to pay their superintendent an outrageous amount of money, I'm going to decide to pay my town manager an outrageous amount of money. Do I believe he should be the highest paid guy in town? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not going to here and now say that he will always be the highest paid man in town because I'm not going to give him a raise every time just because the school superintendent gets a raise. I feel as though it has to be earned. It has to be market value. I think that's what we need to do. Just, you know, we have taxpayers. That's our job. And we also have another contract coming up where we're going to be renegotiating his contract. So.
Your contract could be easily negotiated because it could be, you know, as far as salary
No,
goes.
and
it's here
I
now.
understand. I have, like I said, I have no problem with him being the highest paid person in town, but I'm not going to agree to.
So would you be more comfortable if I just said I recommend a salary of 134.5 and stop it there?
Absolutely, I'm not. You know,
I
that
can rescind my motion.
I'll rescind my second for discussion.
Okay, so the
Okay,
motion's
motion's
just
been moved and-
134.5, Mike.
I just want to understand, if I may,
Please.
I don't know if Selectman Bose is done.
I'm done.
Okay.
Sorry, Mike.
My second was based on, in part Selectman Lamountain's argument about the highest paid, and I like what you're saying about tying it into unrestricted aid that we give the schools, because there's gotta be some accountability trigger there. There does. And because if we're gonna try to fix what I would perceive as an institutional problem with the way that our town pays the town manager versus the superintendent, then you need there's gotta be some battery effect where if you're pushing this way, it's gonna go this way, the opposite. There's gotta be some connection there to make the numbers make sense and to have some accountability there. But with respect to this town manager, I think that the argument can certainly be made quite easily that this is merit. This is about merit. You've got an 89.1 outstanding rating from this board across the whole spectrum of public safety, public service, managerial skills, communications, leadership, decision-making, budget and finance, personnel matters, and he's got an outstanding rating, and we're all sitting here saying he's underpaid. And, I know people might not agree with that, because, you look around and he makes a lot of money, he'd say that, but he's worth it. When you look at his qualifications and his expertise, this is all about merit, but it's also about trying to correct a broken system in this town, where you've got a person who has to live here, who has to be on call all the time, deal with everything under the sun, weekends, midnight, whatever, set up emergency shelters. He's got to be the highest paid person. And if there's a way that we can control or try to just have let's use the word positive influence on the other committee that sets the salary for the superintendent, then I think we should try to have a positive influence. And I think it should be a big discussion in town when people are talking about how much to pay your superintendent. I think that people should really pay attention to that. And how much we're gonna pay the town manager, pay attention to what the board's doing. But you've got to have a system that makes financial sense. And right now, ours just doesn't because of the pay structure. And I'm not gonna give away the house. I think your point's well taken, Selectman Bose. But when you've got a situation where it's merit-based, for sure, in my opinion, and it makes sense as far as cleaning up our financial institutional structure, if you will, that the town manager be the highest paid person, because otherwise, we need to look at our residency requirement for a town manager. I don't know how you can say you have to live in this town, but you won't be the highest paid person, and have all the responsibilities that you have. So I just wanted to put that in there, that this is based on merit, in my opinion. He's earned it, for sure. How many years have you been with the town, Mr. Manager, in all capacities?
This is my 23rd year.
23rd year. Thank you.
Mr. Votes? Oh,
91 I
Just
started.
to, I understand what you're saying, Jen, and I do agree wholeheartedly that, the town manager should be, he's the CEO, he's the COO, he's it. And I understand that, and I'm willing to make that happen. But what I'm not willing to, I just think it's irresponsible. I cannot rely on another committee to make sure my town manager is paid appropriately. I think we could go, it could just be this, I don't know what's going to happen 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. Who's going to be on the school committee? Who's going to be on the board of selectmen? I think we have these evaluations every year, and I think they need to be, it needs to be done, because if we say that, Joe's going to be, or whatever the town manager, whoever the town manager is going to be the highest paid individual, then he could possibly be getting raises off the merit of somebody else, and they decide that he needs a raise. So, and in turn, because he gets a raise because he's been doing a job, now Joe gets a raise, and then maybe Joe's higher paid, and the school committee won't. I'm all in favor of making the town manager the highest paid individual, but I just don't. I understand what you're saying, that there should be some type of mechanism to make sure that, but I don't see that as possible. I don't see a functioning way that can happen, that it's going to be fiscally responsible and the diligence paid attention to the taxpayers of the town of Oxford deserve. So there again, I'm on board with making him the highest paid guy, but I'm not on board with tying that to the, whatever the superintendent makes.
Mr. Chairman, just real quick on that, I just want to, I agree. Many years ago, I don't know, I think John might have been the only person here. I had to fight to bring back a written evaluation for the town manager. That was opposed by certain members of the Board of Selectmen at the time. They didn't even do written evaluations when I first got on this board back in '97. Well, they hadn't in several years. It was just had gone out of fancy, I guess. But it's back. And that was because I wholeheartedly believe merit must always be a part of the evaluation. It has to be. So as far as automatic mechanisms, I don't think we can fashion anything either that would have any type of binding impact, because this board could change that. This board could vote with the next board. I know there are a couple candidates here for selectmen, for their selectmen's race. I mean, they could vote, we don't want a written evaluation anymore. I mean, the board can do anything. We can't bind a board. But the sentiment is well taken as far as that, people should be at least cognizant of that connection and hopefully plan accordingly. But merit should never be, in my opinion, taken out of the town manager's evaluation. That's what prompted the whole proposal a decade ago.
Dennis?
Thank you, Chair. Well, Hank, when you started off, I have to agree, I had a figure in my brain as you were going through, and I was thinking like 130.
So we were
okay?
close.
So we were close.
Close.
And I have to agree with both you and Jen. I wish there was a way we could get this system under control in this town. I know I've been vocal about it, and I'll be vocal again. I am an educator, and I've worked in a few towns. And the way the system works in this town just blows my mind. It really does. When they need extra money, they come running over to Joe, and somehow he comes up with that money, and it's, I don't think we get the education in this town that the bang for our buck. I'll say that right out. And I'm not going to put the blame on the teachers or the maintenance staff or the secretaries or any of that. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I think it's with the management, and I'm going to say that right out. That's, for that kind of money, it's ludicrous, and we should be able to cut. And it bugs me that, we have no control on that. And yeah, I could be part of the school committee, and then I'd be one voice there, but it's a system that just doesn't work. And I agree with all of you. I think I'm going to back that salary with Joe. I think he deserves it. It's due time. And I wish there was some way we could fix the system in this town. It's anytime that school, you cut their budget, they're going to say, oh, well, you're going to hurt the kid. Yeah, that's because that's what the hierarchy wants to do. That's not what has to be done, but that's what they want to do. And until we can fix that, we're going to have this problem. And I have to agree, I can't see us tying in a percentage thing, because that's a crapshoot as far as I'm concerned. But he definitely deserves the money, and I agree with that. And thank you, Chair.
Okay. I just want to add my sentiments as well. I certainly don't want it to be tied into a percentage of whatever some other department head gets. I don't think that's fair. Then it becomes a political football. One year, one guy gets a raise. Oh, because he got a raise, I should be above him. And it goes back and forth, back and forth. I don't want to see that happen. I would like to see it based on exactly what you said, a merit increase. A merit increase based on what value that individual has to this board and the town of Oxford as a whole. And I concur that Joe deserves a lot more than what he's getting. Does he deserve more than the superintendent? I can't say that, because I don't know what that man is worth. I don't know what his value is. That could be an artificial figure. That man may not be worth what they're paying him. Okay? So I don't want to look at the superintendent of schools. I want to look at what this man is worth. And to me, he's worth at least $130,000. No more. And I don't want to tie it into what the superintendent gets. I want to tie it into what he is worth to us as a community. So with that being said, I would go along with anything other than the first proposal, tying it into the
Yeah, there's no time. The
superintendent.
new motion was 134.5 without that. That's what was made and seconded.
I think it's a little too high. I was looking at like between 125 and 130, and I would be willing to go to 130.
Okay, 132.5.
Well, we got a motion that's moved and
Right, we got a
seconded. Let's
motion,
see where we
There's a
go.
motion moved and seconded for, what's the total amount again?
134.5.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, discussion?
Can I? Since you're talking about me?
No.
No.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead.
No, Mr. Chairman, seriously.
Yep.
I said, I gave you all credit for my successes, and it's well-deserved. And you realized in your evaluation that it's not Joe, although I think at least Selectman Lamountain believes I do perhaps too much, and I should rely more on staff. But I have a wonderful staff,
Yes, you do.
and they do a good job. And they do it without a lot of help either. They do a lot of things, a lot of things. My people wear a lot of hats, and we're proud of that. And I tell you, in all fairness, if you want to increase me that large amount, I think I'm about 115 now. That's almost a $20,000 increase a year. That's close to a 20% increase.
You're 116 change plus 2, so 118 after your evaluation was
About
done tonight by
18%.
the mechanism.
And it's, I'm flattered, but a lot of what I hear is connected to what the superintendent makes. And I'm not sure that really reflects on me, on what I'm worth. It's, what am I worth to you? If I'm getting this amount of money now, in this context, in the history of Oxford, I had put in to the budget, when I did my budget request, 130. But then said realistically, and you're right, it's not ironic, it's crazy. It's like Orwellian doublethink. I'm saying that Joe Zaneski wants 130,000 a year. I'd love to have that. I'm 64 years old this summer. I'm going to retire one day. I'd love to have 130,000 as one of my last 3 years, and maybe 3 times that is the basis for my retirement. But as the town manager, I cut that back to 120. Okay, you saw that, and it's because I'm keeping those two ideas in my head at the same time. I think the exercise we've gone through tonight is useful. I've received some goals, but I'm willing to postpone any salary increase until we do a new contract, because I'm getting paid right now my contract runs out the end of June. Right now, absent a new contract, I will continue on at this rate of pay with the contract until we negotiate something new. Unless you want to increase it, but I just have to tell you, it's not just me. And I'd hate to think that you're gonna give me a good pay because of the next guy or gal, I don't know what you're gonna get. I don't know what you're gonna get. I do a lot here. And I've done a lot here because I have those skills, and it's not bragging, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn to say it. I have certain skills that I don't see in some of my counterparts in other towns. I know, there's a quote, Ellie.
Mr. Chairman,
Off the record.
if I can respond to the
That's
town
off the
manager.
record,
You
okay?
can.
Joe, and you're right, it's the person who's gonna take Joe's seat because he's 64 years old down the road that this board needs to be in a position to be able to negotiate with. If they see that we have a town manager that we underpay compared to many of the department heads in which report to him, it doesn't attract the right group of people that we'll be hoping to have come forth for your seat with our residency requirement. You came to us as a steal because you loved Oxford. Okay, Dennis Powers sat at that desk on the cheap for a number of years because he loved Oxford. Well, guess what, Joe? Your position's a professional position, and people are gonna come in, and you're gonna have folks who wanna do it for 3 years, spend the stabilization account, saying, look, I'm in the black, and leave as soon as it starts turning red. okay? So to avoid that, we can't be looking for the filing bargain basement people. We need to look at the upper level, okay? And in order to do that, you need money to attract them. I mean, the benefits are the benefits. The money is what's going to do it. Now, insofar as you don't want to be based upon Alan, I'm not basing you upon Alan. I'm basing you upon what I've seen. I'm basing you upon what I've seen from you for your last 6 years and Dennis for the 6 years before that I worked on this. We have gotten a bargain in Oxford for my whole tenure, and I'm sure it's gone on since the position of town manager has been in effect. Okay, when Dennis Powell, my first year on board, he went from 67 to 78,000, I think. And I had people at the time, I don't know if you can all remember Irene Davio, go nuts because it was a 12% raise. And you know what? It was absolutely nothing. It really wasn't. The man was still on the cheap at that. Okay, Joe, you've been on the cheap. Now, it would be, if we give you 134, whereas you are the town manager, I recall an evaluation where you had some money given to you and you bypassed it. You didn't take it. We can offer the salary. Nothing says you have to take up to it. That's on you. But you know what? I know I would leave off this board feeling good, knowing that I left here as the highest paid position in the land. And it's not based, oh, I think you do a better job or worse job than Alan. I think it's a deserved for your position. Whether it be Joe Zaneski or, like I said, Josephine Smith, the position deserves it. And thank God you're the guy, because, yeah, personally, I think you deserve it. So nothing says you got to take it, but I know I made a motion.
Okay, we have a motion that's been made and seconded.
What was the motion again?
134.5.
Can we negotiate? I like 130.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
134.5.
well, we got to vote on this one, so
Yep.
I'll call for the vote.
No.
No.
Yes,
Yes.
No,
okay.
the motion fails. Do we have another motion?
I make a motion that we offer 130.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Selectmen's request.
Hannah Harwood,
Anna Howard.
Oh, yes, Hannah Howard.
Wow.
who is that person?
Well, you guys are going
That's a
out with a
historic
doozy, aren't
person,
you?
isn't it?
Yes,
Hannah
it is.
Howard was easy. There was only one applicant, right, who was eligible?
Two.
One was
Only one eligible?
Only one eligible.
So,
So we could make it easy by
I
just,
make a motion, we give it to number 2.
Second.
That was the eligible
the
person.
only eligible person.
Right, the only eligible person.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Call me.
Call for the vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. 5 in the affirmative, motion carries. Now we go to managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Managers report for Tuesday, April 23rd. We have meeting minutes. Request the board vote to approve the meeting minutes of January 15th. All were present. Pleasure of the board.
What's the date?
January 15th of 2013.
All present, right?
All were present.
I'll entertain a motion to
So
approve the
moved.
minutes.
So
It's
moved.
been moved, do we have a second to approve the minutes?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion, being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. 4 in the
I
affirmative.
have a few,
Motion carries.
oh, sorry, Tercentenary Committee appointments. Request the board vote to appoint Ms. Virginia Johnson Sears of Bartlett Street to the Tercentenary Committee. Pleasure of the board.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion moved and seconded. Discussion, being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent, motion carries.
And request the board vote to appoint Mr. Norman Sears of Bartlett Street to the Tercentenary Committee. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
It's been moved, do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, there being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention. Motion carries.
We have an applicant for the Cultural Council. This is a joint appointment by the board and the town manager. Request the board vote, along with me, to appoint Ms. Kristen Lovett McKay of Huguenot Road to the Cultural Council until May 1st of 2016. Pleasure of the board.
Motion,
So moved.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Discussion, being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Another joint appointment, this is for, again, for the Cultural Council. Request the board vote along with me to reappoint Father Alfred Zadig of Main Street to the Cultural Council. His term will expire May 1st of 2016. Pleasure of the board.
Motion?
So moved.
Been
Second?
moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent, motion carries.
We've completed the annual town meeting warrant. It's in your to-be-signed folder. There are a total of 25 articles. Request the board vote to endorse that so we can hang it up and send it to the press. Pleasure of the board.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent, motion carries.
We need to set polling hours for the annual town election, which is Tuesday, May 21st, 2013. Normally, the board sets the polling hours to be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Please note that the polls must be open a minimum of 4 hours and cannot open any later than 12 noon. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion to move that it be from 8 to 8.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, motion carries.
We have a request for a 5K road race. The board has received a request from Ms. Meg McIlvain of the Jack and Jill Preschool to hold a 5K road race on Saturday, July 13th, 2013. Registration will start at 6:30 a.m. and the race will start at 8 a.m. Approval of the race and the route should be contingent upon approval of the police chief and the fire chief. The race will start on Main Street near the library, head north on Main Street, turn left onto Church Street to the end, turn around, come back down Church Street and left onto Forest Street, left onto Page Lane, right on Rocky Hill Road, and right back onto Main Street. Yeah, Rocky Hill Road goes back to Main Street to the finish line, which will be near the library. The official start and finish lines are still to be determined. They have to measure that out. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Jump me? I could be fast.
Memorial Day's coming up, folks. Spring will be here soon also. Request the board vote to allow the veterans of foreign wars to host this year's Memorial Day Parade on Monday, May 27th. The parade will kick off from the American Legion Post on Main Street at 10:30 a.m. and end at the VFW Hall. The parade will be followed by a luncheon buffet at the VFW Hall for parade participants. There will be 3 stops at the different memorials along the route. If any board member would like to give a short address at any of the memorials, please notify your clerk. Also, board members are invited to march in the parade. Please notify your clerk if you are interested in speaking or marching, and she will contact Commander Walter Powell of the VFW Post 5663. Pleasure of the board to allow the parade.
So
Entertain a motion.
moved.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the
Eight to
affirmative,
4 that
motion
time.
carries.
And the American Legion has a request for a special pouring license. This is for a renewal of their special pouring license, for the Horseshoe League for the following Saturdays. In May, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th. In June, the 1st, 8th, 22nd, 29th. In July, the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th. In August, the 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th, and 31st. September, the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th. And in October, the 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. No drinks will be allowed outside from inside the premises, and only plastic and paper cups will be allowed. Also, canned beer only will be allowed, no bottles. Start time for all days is 12 noon, and it'll run until about 6 p.m. I'm sorry, not about, until 6 p.m. There are 23 days total. Pleasure of the board to renew their special pouring license.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion? There being none, a call for the vote?
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
I have a recognition item which, regarding Officer McCarthy, which Selectman Sad made notice of earlier in the meeting. And finally, some reminders. The Community Reading Day program is scheduled for this Friday, April 26th. All readers are asked to arrive at the school at 9:15 a.m. and to spend 45 minutes in the classroom. If you do not have a favorite book that is appropriate for third or fourth grade students, then an appropriate grade level book will be provided to you. The deadline was yesterday, so if you have not notified your clerk, please do so this evening and she'll get you in. As previously presented to you, the spring bulk item drop-off will be held Saturday, April 27th for residents residing north of Charlton Street, Sutton Avenue, and Saturday, May 4th for residents residing south of Charlton Street, Sutton Avenue. That first Saturday is this Saturday for you watching this live. If you're unable to make that date, please contact the DPW at 508-987-6006 before Thursday the 25th, and they can make arrangements for you to go the other day. The times on both Saturdays will be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Oxford Transfer Station at 200 Leicester Street, Route 56, North Oxford, up near the Leicester Town line. And remember, the Rocky Hill Road pit is open for brush and garden waste. The annual town meeting will take place on Wednesday, May 8th at 7 p.m. in the Oxford High School. And the last day and hour to register to vote before the special state election is Wednesday, June 5th, and the town clerk's office will be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on that day to accommodate those wishing to register to vote. Keep in mind, the primary, we were, may have forgotten about this, the primary is next week, April 30th. Democrat and Republican primary. The special election for that Senate seat is June 25th. So the last day to register to vote for the actual election is June 5th. That ends my report for April 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Selectmen's request?
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Marsh?
It's come to our attention about some people or some group that have been cleaning up the litter along Main Street, and I just would like to thank them and keep up the good work. It's great to see people out there doing that. And on that same note, I'd like to thank Glenn Travasky and his crew. As part of Earth Day, they went out and cleaned up a bunch of trash in some of the local water areas, and as he normally does, doing a great job, so I'd like to send kudos to him also for doing that. The other thing I have is that, I don't know, about a month, 6 weeks ago, we had a letter and people came in about the disarray of our sidewalk conditions, and so this weekend I happened to decide to take a little bike ride down Main Street and see what the sidewalks kind of look like. And I saw how they look. The area, I have to say, from about the fire station up to Cumberland Farms is horrendous. You could never get a wheelchair along that section of the sidewalk. It goes up and down, some places 6-8 inches. It's awful. So after, taking a ride around, taking a look at sidewalks, I talked to Sean Dival and said, hey, is there something we can do? Being a part of the representative for the Central Mass Planning Committee, I said, is this something we could get through federal money? And he informed me that usually it gets tied to roadways, and that specifically the sidewalks I'm talking about are a state road. So he told me to do this, so this is what I'm going to do. Is I would like to make a motion to send a letter to MassDOT and explain how bad these sidewalks are and ask them what their plans are for Route 12 and the sidewalks to see if we can get this fixed, because it's just awful. It's awful. You have to be in the roadway if you're in a wheelchair. If you're handicapped, you can't even walk on those. I don't know how people can walk on them, period. So that's my motion.
That's from headquarters to the fair lawn. Fair lawn. That
Yes.
Cumbies?
From that section is just unbelievable. I
Second,
mean,
Dennis.
It's, most of the sidewalks along Main Street, Sean, like he says, the center of town that we own, that we're responsible from,
We'll help you with the letter.
from like, Front Street to Fair Lawn, they fix that periodically, and it's not bad, but the rest of Main Street is in dire need. If
So
we could
do we
send
have
a letter.
second?
Second,
Mr.
yep.
Lamont.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries.
thank you, and that's all I have.
Mr. Vos?
Well, it's late, so I'm gonna try to be quick. Me and Selectmen Sad had the opportunity this weekend to go to the Senior Center 20th anniversary celebration. It was a great time. They had a fantastic meal, and I just want to commend Stacy Barr and all the people over there. What a fantastic job they're doing for the seniors of this community. Just if there's any seniors out there that haven't gone over the Senior Center and see what that's all about, please make your way over there. It's a great service we have here in town. A lot of great people over there. I believe they have lunches every day. Please, make yourself available and certainly try it out. I guess today we have two of our members. This is their last televised meeting.
It's my last
This is
one,
it.
yeah.
I just want to thank both of them. 12 years. I think both of them had 12 years on the board.
Jenny's 13.
13. Lucky 13.
Yeah, I got on when I was 10.
But, they've been on the board for quite a long time, and there is a lot of knowledge in those two seats right there. I know Hank has been usually helpful to me, and, as incompetent as I seem sometimes. It'd be much worse if it wasn't for Hank. And Jenny, she served the board well for many, many years, so I know we got some new people coming on, and they got some huge shoes to fill because these two have a vast array of knowledge and have served the town of Oxford very well. And I just want to thank them both for their service.
Mike, you're welcome.
And that's all I got.
Mr. Lamont?
Well, I have no requests that I'm going to put forward, but I do want to just take a moment to the constituency and follow up on what Mike said. For 12 years, you've allowed me to serve you. When I came in, Greg Anderson's in the audience. I was a green kid, knew nothing. I think everybody should have to serve to understand how this town runs. Because, boy, I'll tell you, the first year, did I get my eyes opened wide. John, I had you. I had Dave Bigwood. Sometimes I was ridiculous, and he let me know that, but, it was all good. I learned a lot under Dennis Power. I learned a lot under you. But from the people in town, I learned a lot as well. It's humbling, to win an election and then to win again and then to just, hey, Hank and Jen are running. The last two elections, they're running, Jesus, there's no need. We're all set. Well, that's a humbling thing to hear. I know that I've gotten tired. I've talked with John, who's got many, many years on this board, and he burnt out. I hate to say it, I'm just burnt. I've got a huge family. I've got a lot of grandkids now. My life has changed. I'm semi-retired. And folks, I want to go home, and it's time. So, to the two folks out here in the audience, I wish you well in your campaign. I hope you have fun here. To this board, I've enjoyed you. I like you all personally. I respect you all professionally. I think it's been fun. It's had its moments for sure where it's been fun with you guys. And will I miss this? Sure. Will I call you? Probably not. But, that's just the way it is. And Casey, for 12 years I have had a hell of a clerk. You have never let me down. You've gotten me everything I've needed, wanted, sometimes things I didn't need or want, but, you were always right there, and, there was always the smile. You were always good. I'm gonna miss you, kid, but it's been real, and it's been appreciated, everything you've done. And before I just keep babbling, I'm done. Good night, folks. Goodbye, and thank you.
Casey?
Thank you. I'm gonna miss Karen too. I won't say anything about the rest of you, but I'm really gonna miss talking to Karen, especially when I was chairman. We used to just talk about things and fix the world in our phone call, in our 15-minute or 20-minute or half an hour phone calls. But I'm really gonna miss you, Karen. You'll see me around. And to my colleagues, of course, it's been a good experience. I think we all learned from each other when we're up here and we bring different disciplines to the table. And it's been a very educational 13 years for me. First coming on this board back in 1997, John, we had some good times, huh?
Yeah, we did.
It was, I used to lose a lot of votes 4-1, but I always thought I contributed something, and we all learned from each other, and that's what it's all about. And I think we eventually figured it out over the years, and we started rowing in the same direction more often than we were rowing in opposite directions. And I think, though we didn't always agree, I think that my colleagues and I, we figured it out, and we started doing things the right way, even though we, as I said, we didn't always agree, but we tweak things and we learn from each other, and we work from our ideas, and I think we came out with better resolutions than we would have otherwise. So it's been a pleasure serving with all of you. I've served with John, I believe, the longest. Selectman LaMarche a couple terms, and of course, Hank, I've served with you since I took you around the first time you ran for office. You were afraid to knock on a door, and now look at him. Created a monster over here.
Still hate knocking on doors.
I know. But we had a lot of fun, and I think we served the town well. You know, you think back, you start thinking about your 13 years, about what you did, and a lot of the policies that were put into place during the last couple of years. Proud of a lot of the stuff that we've done and been able to do because we've worked together. And not all the towns in our area can say that. So we should all be commended for that. To the manager, it's been a pleasure working with you, Mr. Manager. We've come a long way. I can recall when you and I, back in the late 90s, we butted heads a few times on a few issues, but developed an incredible amount of mutual respect and admiration for each other over the years, and I think grown to appreciate each other. I'm going to miss it. I've got a little baby at home now who needs me on Tuesday nights, and I'm looking forward to spending that time with her and probably picking up a set of golf clubs again, which would be nice to do. I haven't done that in a couple of years. But to the people at home, to the Oxford taxpayers and citizens, it's been an honor serving my hometown for the last 13 years as a selectman. I did a 3-year stint on the planning board when I worked with Selectman Vos. But it's been an honor for me, and the pleasure has truly been all mine. So thank you.
Okay. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the departure of two very talented individuals who I've had the pleasure of serving with. And I'd just like to say that the town is a lot better off when somebody who has done so much leaves it, because they're leaving behind a legacy, they're leaving behind progress, and they're leaving behind shoes that are going to be hard to fill. There's no question about that. And Hank, I can understand when you made the comment that you're burnt out. I understand that feeling because I've been there. I was a selectman for 15 years, and I felt that way. I got burnt out, so I said, that's it. So I was out of this office for 3 years. And I got recharged after 3 years, and I kind of got drafted into having to come back.
We'll see.
And now it's been another 15 years, so I'm not burnt out yet, but I'm sure that day will come, and I can appreciate your feelings. I really can. Both of you have been a pleasure to work with. We have had our disagreements, there's no question about that. But more often than not, this board has gelled together on the very important issues of moving Oxford forward. And both of you have been a very integral part in making that happen. You've always put Oxford first. And you know what? You can't ask for any more than that. Nobody here on this board has a personal agenda. Our agenda is the best interest of the town of Oxford. And my advice to anyone who gets elected to fill those 2 seats, come aboard without having a personal agenda. The only agenda you should have is serving the people of this community, because they're the ones that matter. They're the ones that put you there. So with that, I wish both of you the best in the future. And again, it's been a pleasure for both of you, really.
Same to you.
I didn't say I was burnt out, so
Uh-oh.
never know. I'm gonna be tuning in.
I'm not burnt out yet,
I know.
but I'm sure it's gonna happen down the road, I'm sure. It always
Watch
does. So is there any other business to come before the board?
No, sir.
There being none, I'll obtain a motion to adjourn.
So